Good morning. It's September 2019 and it's a time for the tour of the back gardens here at Stacy's Art Studio. I wanted to show you my first thing that I got done in September is the fountain is finally really running properly. It really wasn't that hard to fix. It just took me a while to get to it because it's just been so hot. So this I started last year, if you remember. I dug a big hole. That was not easy. And made it level and put in the reservoir box in the bottom. And then covered it while we went out and searched for these big rocks. We got these big rocks. And I covered it with some of the rocks from the front driveway, which are really river rocks. They're not driveway rocks. And then I tried a couple different pumps. Finally I decided on this one. It's not solar. It is on a timer though, because the heat is so intense here. The water will evaporate too quickly if it runs all the time. So I just run it early in the mornings up to about noon, and then in the evenings for a couple of hours so we can enjoy it. Look how big the zinnias still are in the middle of September. Hummingbirds still are loving those. So let's take a tour. We'll go walking this way. Our grass is coming to life. This weekend I will be putting in the clover seed. I'm looking forward to that. That'll be good. And our roses are getting tall. Right here, the plantain is nice and big. I'm limping this morning. I gotta walk carefully. My old arthritis is popping up because we're headed into fall. But see how tall those roses are getting? So I planted these right here because the kiddo loves red roses. But on his side, I can't really plant any roses because there's cement there, or the other area is too shady. So these are climbing roses, and I think by next year they'll get to the top of his fence, so then he'll be able to see them on his side of the fence. And then I took out the sunflowers here and added another trellis. And these sunflowers are their last days, but the little birdies are still eating on them, so I've been leaving it there. And then I added another trellis over there, getting ready to do some more work on the hammock area. I think that'll be probably the end of this month. Let's see, I moved this little light right here, little fairy light. And look how pretty our juniper tree is. I just love how it catches the light. It's so pretty. It's doing really well there. Hey Molly, you looking for a lizard? She's always looking for a lizard. And of course our Jacobian is really healthy. He hasn't grown a whole lot, but he's really healthy. And the lavender is doing really good around here. It's so funny, every time I add a new thing to the garden, Molly has to figure out how to get around it. She thinks about it, and then she creates her obstacle course, which is really good for her, to be honest. So she does this serpentine through the aspen trees back here, and around that tree, and then around the bench, and around these trees. And then she likes to hide right here and watch for lizards. It's like her little sneaking hiding point. My tomatoes are coming down to the end of their days, but look how big and healthy they still are. And I still have a few tomatoes on the vine. Got a few back here too. We'll see if they'll ripen up or not. Now, this wall retains a lot of heat, so it's keeping the tomatoes warm at night. So I'm hoping that will help. Got one slightly, we've got a red one there. We'll take it off a little bit later. And down the steps we go, carefully, with my old beat up foot. Moving slow today. lemon balm got really big, and there's the bee balm again. Alright, so let's pop up over here, see what's going on. Oh, the back doors, I finished painting them. I'm real happy with them now. And I'm working on hose placement, and I still have some supplies for working on the hammock area that I haven't got moved yet. These planters did really well this year. I'm happy with them. They're still doing good. And I planted some onions in here. We'll see if they come up. And let's go up our little walkway here. Go to the back here. I collected the last of the purslane for my friend. She canned it. She eats it all year round. It's really good for you. I haven't added it to our food supply yet, but I'm going to try. This rose is doing really well. And you can see there's still some tomatoes back in here that are trying to ripen. It's a little harder for them right now, but we'll see. I hope I can grab a few more before the end of the season. And as you can see, they got really tall. That's what my husband called them, the tomato trees. I even topped a couple of them because they got too big, and I've called it the jungle. But they did really well right here. It's really funny, every time I walk through this gate, I open the gate and Molly comes running up here trying to get in. I'm always like, no, Molly, you can't. She knows that, so that's why she comes running up here. Our Leland tree here has gotten really nice and large, and back here it's you can almost can't see through with so much stuff going on back there. I need to trim the lemon verbena fell over, and I couldn't figure out why it fell over until I saw Molly jump up on top of it chasing a lizard. So that's how it fell over. She's a funny girl. Alright, let's head down the steps. And this is where I still would like to put a, you know, like a little fake little bridge. But I haven't got to that yet. I will. And I still would like to get some rain barrels in here, but I think I waited too long to get the ones that I wanted, because I tried to order some and they told me they were on back order and they didn't know when they'd come in, and I'm looking for a particular one at a particular price, so I might have to wait till spring again. Oh, I put in these stones here and over here because I would like to put a bird bath on both of those spots. And then of course we still haven't done anything with the cement here, but that's a project upcoming. I love the sailcloth shades. These have been really great. They've saved us this year, that's for sure. And our strawberries are still very healthy, but I haven't moved them yet. I still have all that building of raised beds to do, so it's on the list. And this sandy area needs cleaned up, and I need to bring in fresh sand because it started to come, you know, the plastic started to come up, so it needs to be filled in some more. I've got all sorts of weeds going on back here. I haven't been able to get back up here to weed at the moment, and our sunflowers are tipping over, but everybody's pretty healthy. I think next week I'll be able to get in and get all these weeds out and the sunflowers down, and then see if we can get a good, oh sorry about that, angle from this corner. I don't know if you can see the fountain. I think you can. So this month I've been talking a little bit about space and using what you've got and not worrying about not having the right place at the right time, because I think the right place and the right time is now and where you're at. That's what I believe, because if you don't take advantage of it right now and where you're at, then nothing will happen. So that's how I've always, you know, looked at things and worked on things personally. because you never know how long you're going to be where you're at. So if you put off doing it, then it'll never progress. And so like here, I kind of knew we would be here for a pretty long time, since the kiddo's health issues have become so that he needs to stay still. So I kind of really worked at it like I was going to be here a long time. But the other thing too is budget. You know, if you don't have a budget, then, oh, sorry, I got my finger in the camera. You know, you feel like you don't have enough budget for anything. Don't worry about that either. Just start where you can. You know, pick a corner, start growing something. And you know, I was going to talk about how this size yard is not, it's not very big when you're trying to farm or grow food. It's not a very large space at all. However, it's pretty large compared to the newer homes in the Albuquerque area. The newer homes in the Albuquerque area probably don't have half of this, but you can still grow stuff. If I only had half of this, I still have enough garden space for some foods. And in this small space, we've grown this year, I have a freezer partially full of tomatoes. I could have done better. I hope next year I can do better. We ate lots and lots of peaches this year. We didn't store any of them. We just ate them. But we really enjoyed them. Let's see, the herbs. I have a year's worth of lemon balm and then some, lemon verbena and then some, rosemary, plantain, and then my friend has a year's worth of purslane that I grew for her. The strawberries next year I think will do really well. I just have to get control of the little mices. And so anyway, you know, what was here was this ugly fence with the retaining wall, and we took down the ugly fence, but we left the retaining wall, and it's been very useful. You know, it may not be the prettiest piece of art here, and I have some ideas to freshen it up and update it, but you know, that's quite a ways down the road, because really I want to just get the practical and somewhat attractive started. So I put in these grasses to cover the back wall, and then these pots, which I never got around to filling. I moved the rocks in here, but I haven't gotten the rocks in back there around the peach tree. But I will, you know, that's just a time-consuming thing, is all. And I used what was here to make it work, and I just think that's really important that you start with that. And I used the shape of the garden back here. That's why the river comes down the middle, the fake river comes down the middle, because that's the shape that I had. And then also along the back here I planted a lot of trees to have a lot of roots in the ground to keep the earth from moving anymore, and it has, it's stopped it. It's really got everything in place, and that's because of the trees more so than the plants. The plants are great, but the trees really hold things in place. Oh, that little apple tree is doing really well. And then I've got another apple tree over here, but you can't hardly see it because of the peach tree, but it's doing fine. I'll have to trim that peach tree up quite a bit this year. But anyhow, that's what I try to work with, what's here, and then kind of lay it out. So right there where the hammock is, that was just all sand, and there was a fence there. We took that fence down, but then the sand wanted to move, so I did some retaining things, and also the grass, the roots from the grass hold that in place. And then I'll have the pergola and the vines growing on it, which will hold that all in place as well. So just kind of working with what I have as far as shape goes. For example, over here, I really find the cement pad to be, I don't appreciate it, to be honest, because it takes up so much space and doesn't do anything. But if I took that out, then I would have another dirt problem sliding across, and it's a really huge project since the you know, the barn shed is there, and it goes all the way up to the wall of the house and along the back there where I have my potting shed area. So that's not practical to take it out and create more growing space. So instead, I'm going to be covering it so that it becomes a more connected, flowing piece that goes with the rest of this. And I have some tricks up my sleeve, and I hope it will work. We'll see. So over here, I used to have to, well, I haven't quite finished, but I used to have to take the hose from the back here and then put it up over the cement fence to get to the secret garden to water it. But I'm in the process of moving a hose from the front that will run all the way back and through the wood fence so that I don't have to be moving hoses anymore. That would save some time and effort. And that's the other thing I really look for in while I'm gardening is what do I need to do to simplify how I'm doing this, because I do love growing things, but I don't want to spend my whole days at it. I don't have enough time for that. So I look at things that are severely drought resistant. Sometimes I make mistakes like I did out in the front, but I've done pretty well with the drought resistant back here. I try to, like the grass, I don't want it to take up too much of our time or water, so I've cut back on how much grass is there by adding the stepping stones and hopefully the bird baths soon. And then the clover, which will take over the grass eventually. It'll be green, it will be a pollinator, which also, that's one of the goals I wanted here with some pollinators. So, you know, we're making progress. It does take time to build it, but as I build it, I try to think of long term, how much effort is this going to be to maintain? And so I try to choose carefully that way. And so far, I feel like I'm being successful. And one of the things is moving hoses. So I will be moving a hose through this fence as well so that it can be taken into the kiddo's courtyard. From inside his courtyard, all he has to do is come out here and turn the hose on, and that will simplify taking care of that area as well. So those are a few of my tips for September 2019. I hope you enjoyed my ramblings and enjoy my back gardens. Like I said, I wish it was a public space. I would love to have a public space for people to come to, but currently I don't, so instead I share it with you via the internet. And thanks for coming by, and we'll see you next time. Bye.